For centuries, our families fought together against their common enemy.
It's time to make room in your life for more fire-breathing dragons because a second Game of Thrones prequel is now in the works. But should we be excited about all these GOT prequels? Let's talk about it right now on The Ketchup. Pilot production recently wrapped on the first Game of Thrones prequel that was announced last year, and now Entertainment Weekly is reporting that HBO is currently planning another prequel series that is getting pretty close to a pilot order. So this one will focus on the downfall of House Targaryen, which is around 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones, in the age when dragons ruled Westeros. So it looks like we'll finally be able to put that dragon emoji to good use. GOT author George R.R. Martin will be EP on the project, which should draw plenty of inspiration from his recently published history of House Targaryen, Fire and Blood. Martin confirmed in a recent blog post that this new series has a title, and while of course he wouldn't reveal what it is yet, he did say it's not the obvious one. So I guess Fire and Blood is off the table, probably not ice and whatever the opposite of blood is either. Fire and Dragons maybe?
The past is already written. The ink is dry.
Now, when it comes to the first prequel series that was announced last year, which will be written by Jane Goldman, Martin said he expects to see a first cut of that pilot episode soon. Now, that show doesn't have a title either, although Martin commonly refers to it as The Long Night or The Longest Night, so keep an eye out for that. And S.J. Clarkson, who directed and executive produced pilots for The Defenders and Jessica Jones on Netflix, directed the series premiere. Now, for this series, we know that the fantasy world of Westeros will be divided into around 100 smaller kingdoms, as opposed to the 7 that we're used to. The series will be an ensemble story just like GOT, with a cast headlined by Oscar nominees Naomi Watts and Miranda Richardson. And it'll be set around 5,000 years before the events of Game of Thrones, so maybe Jesus will make a cameo. And Martin told Entertainment Weekly that fans should expect to see the Stark family, which goes way back, as well as White Walkers, direwolves, and mammoths. And he also noted that the Casterlys from House Lannister and Casterly Rock fame will also be featured.
Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it.
But before we get to any prequels, the OG GOT will be celebrated one last time this weekend because it set an Emmys record with 32 nominations, the most for any season of a show ever. And after taking home 10 wins at last week's Creative Arts Emmys, the show just needs 3 more wins in its 7 remaining categories on Sunday to beat its own record of 12 Emmys from both 2015 and 2016. In other words, enough gold to build a whole new throne. But I have to ask you guys, is more Game of Thrones programming what fans really want? I mean, the final season of the show left a sour taste for a lot of people, has been rotten on the Tomatometer for most of the year, just recently turning fresh at 60%, but the audience score is much lower at 32%, so maybe fans will be looking to get their fantasy fix elsewhere. Maybe by watching Henry Cavill in a white wig. I mean, you can't tell me The Witcher isn't a silver fox.
Is it true what they say?
But I want to kick it over to you guys now. Are you excited about the Game of Thrones prequels, or would you rather give a different fantasy series your attention, like The Witcher or the new Lord of the Rings series? And if you are stoked, what should the prequel shows be called? Sound off in the comment section, and if you like this episode and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and click that bell icon. As always, thanks for watching The Ketchup. I'm Naz Perez, and I'll see you guys next time.